Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today we will talk about style and strategies, and the presenter are me, Hoirunisa, and Nanda Fitma. Okay, before we talk about some styles and strategies, we will talk about process. What is process? Process is the most general of three concepts. All human beings engage in certain universal process. It is characteristic of every human being. So style refers to consistent and rather enduring tendencies of preference within an individual. Styles differentiate you from someone else. So strategies are specific method of approaching a problem or a task, or modes of operating for achieving a particular end, plan design for controlling and manipulating certain information. Strategies vary intra-individually. Each of us has a different ways to solve problem. So next, learning style. The way we learn things in general and the way we attack a problem seems to hinge on a rather amorphous link between personality and cognition. This link referred to as cognitive style. So what is learning style? Learning style is when the cognitive style are to an educational context where affective and physiological factors are intermingled. They are usually more generally. Okay, next, their field independence refers to the ability to perceive a particular relevant item or factor in the field of distracting items. In psychological terms, the field may be perceptual and more abstract, like thought, feelings, and others. For example, field independence enables you to distinguish part from a whole, to concentrate on something like you like reading a book in a noisy situation. Okay, while field dependence refers to the tendency to be dependent on the total field so that the parts embedded within the field are not easily perceived, although the total field is perceived more clearly as a unified whole. Field dependence is a term that might carry a more positive connotation. Field dependence has positive effect to perceive a whole picture, the general configuration of a problem or idea or event. Okay, here is more clear explanation. Field independent learners, also called analytic learners, field independent, like to concentrate on detail of language such as grammar rules, or enjoy taking apart words and sentences. While field independent learners, also known as a global learners, focus on the whole picture and do not care so much about the details. Okay, there is a table about left and right brain, but I take a conclusion that left brain is considered to be adept at tasks that involve logic, language, and analytical thinking, and right brain is the best at expressive and creative tasks. Okay, and the last, ambiguity tolerance. Ambiguous situations are also common in language learning. The person who is tolerant of ambiguity while studying other language is willing to take risks and open to change, so endurance on tasks and higher level of achievement. Then the person who is intolerant of ambiguity avoids or give up when encountering ambiguous situation. They might be anxiety when see ambiguous and may feel affected engaging the study of differential reasoning. Ambiguity tolerance tolerance of ambiguity allow people allow person to deal with the ill-defined nature of problem.
I will continue the explanation now about reflectivity and impulsivity. Psychological studies have been conducted to determine to degree which the cognitive domain a person tend to make either a quick uh, or gambling. It called impulsive yes to an answer. Then a pro- to a problem or a slower and more calculated. It called reflective. So the differences of reflectivity and impulsivity. The impulsive one is make a guess or decision without thinking first. But the reflective one is more calculated about the problem, about the answer or guess the problem. Uh, then visual and auditory styles. Visual learners tend to pre- tend to prefer reading and studying chart, drawing, or other graphic information. So, visual learning prefer to learn by seeing something, like seeing chart, uh, like a picture or graphic information. But while auditory learners prefer to listening the information and lecture from audio tapes. So visual is seeing something, then auditory is listening something to learn information. And then explanation about strategies. Strategies are specific method of approaching a problem or task. In the field of second language acquisition, has distinguished between two of strategies learning. They are learning strategies and communication strategies. Learning strategies. These strategies input processing, storage, retrieval, that is to taking message from others. In the field of second language acquisition, Brown classified learning strategies into one, cognitive strategies. This is involving the manipulation of the learning material input. In example like deduction, imaginary, and etc. We can see in table 5.2 in page 126 is communication strategies. These strategies are that learners use to overcome these problems in order to convey their intended meaning. Uh, these strategies used may include paraphrasing, substitutions, coining the word, coining the new word, switching to the first language, and asking clarification. So by these strategies, we can found a text that include our language, our second language that we learn it. Uh, we can paraphrasing it, then substitution it, then coining the new word that we never know it, then switching to the first language or translate it into our language, our first language, then asking the clarification to the one who understand it, who more understand it. Another another strategies is avoidance strategies. avoidance strategies is used when we can or we are finding difficulty to speak or learn or missing understanding when we talk or write 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 the language. It can be broken down into several subcategories, that is synthetic or lexical avoidance. In example, the second language learner says, "I lost my road." It means like aku kehilangan jalanku. But the native speaker menangkap atau or understand it, you lost your road, maksudnya kamu kehilangan arahmu, maksudnya kehilangan tujuan hidupmu. But there are misunderstanding about the second language learner and the native. So the second language learner avoided by I got lost, maksudnya saya kehilangan jalannya. Then topic avoidance, avoiding topic that pose language difficulties. In example, pretending not to understand, maksudnya pretending not to understand or changing the topic or not responding it. 3. Phonological avoidance. Instead of using word that difficult to pronounce, we can change it into the easy one. So we are not too difficulties ourselves, but make it our easily to learn that language. The next is compensatory strategies. These strategies can be used to help learners to make up missing knowledge when speaking or writing second language. The subcategories is circumlocution. It describing the object by an action. In example, saying the thing you put your money in when you don't know, when you mean it is a wallet. This can be used when you don't know about the word that you mean. You can expressing or describing that object or that word by an action. The next is approximation, using alternative express. An example, stay away mean to avoid something. The next is word coinage. Word coinage is creating a new word. In the example, free